Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode talking more wrestling. Larry here, more 365 on your social media dials, and I'm back for another episode because we have a lot to talk about. It was a big weekend last weekend for wrestling, and we had NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, we had AEW All Out, New Japan Royal Quest, and some other independent shows throughout the country. And of course, if we're going to talk independents, if we're going to talk other than the WWE, of course I'm going to have my independent correspondent Brandon. Welcome back to the show. What is happening, my friend?
Hey man, it's good to be back. I'm a independent podcaster over here, you know. give us welfare, give us health care, give us other stuff the independent wrestlers want. We don't need a contract.
There you go. Work without a contract. That's how you do it. Pay to play. Josh introduced us. Josh over Victimsville introduced Brandon and myself, for those of you who are new to this show. And, me and Brandon kicked it off big time for our love of professional wrestling. But it's kind of the difference in love that we have. You know, as much as I love WWE and I love WCW, Ring of Honor, all the what I'll call the big time wrestling. And I'm not saying he doesn't love it, but Brandon is probably one of the only guys I know who which is awesome, enthralled with independent wrestling. The man who traveled to New Orleans WrestleMania weekend not to go to WrestleMania. And I think that is just awesome and fantastic. And just real quick, Brandon, for the new listeners, what is it about the indies that you love so much?
It has the feel of the hardcore music scene that I fell in love. It's just a ring, people, no strings attached, just solid wrestling bell to bell, and everyone there is trying to put on the best match possible to get you to notice them and get people to notice them. And just a lot of passion into it. Like, these dudes are getting paid like $50 in a hot dog, and they're making all these T-shirts, bringing them to the show, setting them up on the table, not getting paid squat, and are killing themselves in the ring for you. And I don't know, like, me being like a hardcore kid, that resonates with me with indie wrestling too.
All right,
and it's just pure passion.
I can see that. I can totally see that, and that, like I said, it's awesome. I've always said support independent wrestling because you never know who you're going to see start out, and you never know who may come through there for the last time. So we're going to talk a little bit about the indies because I know you have some stuff to talk about. And before we get to that, though, let's talk about the big three. Even though I only got to see two of them, big shows that happened last Saturday, which of course was New Japan Pro Wrestling's Royal Quest from London, England, NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff from Cardiff, Wales, and AEW All Out from Chicago, Illinois. Brandon, did you watch any of these three shows?
I watched all three.
Ah, nice. And I'm assuming you watched two of them at the same time.
I tried, but then I was paused NXT and watched it delayed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I that in a while.
All right, yeah. What is it? Tape delay in today's day and age of digital? Okay, yeah, because Royal Quest and Cardiff were both roughly at the same time, about an hour and a half different start time. New Japan was at 12:30 Eastern PM, and Cardiff was like 2 p.m. Eastern. Just real quick, I was geared to watch this at home. I had my second monitor ready to go to play one of the two. I don't know which. I probably would have had NXT on the big TV. But, which I'll talk about in a little bit, I ended up going to the city to watch it. Just real quick, your thoughts overall on this week. Did it feel like WrestleMania weekend? A little bit? Because of so many shows?
It was it felt more closer to WrestleMania than SummerSlam weekend did.
Okay.
It's always like the second to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I had to actually plan around it. And then the night before, you had GCW running at midnight. So
that was at midnight? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it was in Chicago, too, so it was like your pre-show. Then the UK had a bunch of indie shows, too, but I didn't watch any of those because they wouldn't stream them. But God forbid if they would have. I would have been up all night.
Come on, Progress. Get with it. Rev Pro, let's do it.
Yeah, they ran too. Rev Pro. Yeah. So, but, yeah, I would say it was like a mini WrestleMania weekend with everything. You got to stream, at one after another.
Bro, that the picture that you sent me during WrestleMania weekend when you had like 3 televisions, I think, going for the stream, I love it. I you know what? 1 year for WrestleMania, if I'm not going to go to WrestleMania, I'm going to come down to you, and we're going to watch all this wrestling for like 24 hours. Absolutely.
I'm going to hold you to it.
Maybe 2021. I think we're planning on going to Tampa next year. So, all right, so let's get into it. I want to first talk about the show that I didn't get a chance to watch. New Japan Pro Wrestling Royal Quest.
All right, so let me just go down the card. And
kind of, I think we'll just... Exactly, let's talk about the card, talk about... and I'm sure you have some key matches that you want to talk about. I know your secret admiration for one of these wrestlers in New Japan. I'm sure we're going to touch on at some point. So, let's get... Because it was a big day for Bullet Club, it looked like, as far as matches.
Oh, yeah. The show had its usual, throwing together tag matches, the undercard. First, you had Rocky Romero and Sho and Yo for Funky 2K versus Ryosuke Taguchi, Ren Narita, and Shooter Utamo. It was a good tag match. I hate seeing Shooter without Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
Then you had Juice Robinson and Kota Ibushi defeated Yujiro Takahashi and Yuki Lilo of Bullet Club.
Oh, wow.
Decent tag match. It's just... I didn't really understand this match. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Ibushi is going to have a big year coming up, the beginning of 2020. Do you think they're going to be... do you think the rest of 2019 is basically just going to set Ibushi up? He has a chance to win back-to-back in the Tokyo Dome. Wrestle Kingdom 14 is actually 2 days in the Tokyo Dome, January 4th and 5th. And he wants to win the world title and the Intercontinental title back-to-back. So do you think this is the year of Ibushi?
I think so.
Okay.
It's his time. He spent so much time not officially signed with New Japan, kind of being independent on his own right, and now that he decided to be a lifer, and I think he deserves it, and I think he's going to get it.
All right, cool. Sounds good to me. So what we got next?
We had Will Ospreay and Robbie. Will Ospreay and Robbie Eagles defeated the junior champions, tag champs, Taiji Ishimori and El Fantasma in a non-title match, which sets up the tag title match between those two, and Ishimori and Fantasma at one of the Destruction cards coming up. So that's interesting. New Japan don't really do that a whole lot. Like WWE does that, you beat the champions, you get the title shot.
Yeah.
They usually just set it up differently, but it was cool to see that.
All right.
It'd be a fun match.
And these seemed like they were short matches as well, right?
Yeah, these are all 8 to the shortest is 8 minutes, and the longest so far has been 13 minutes.
Okay.
Which that match, Naito and Sonata defeated Jay White and Chase Owens, which was a setup for Naito and Jay White. But also Sonata, I don't know if you noticed this, he's getting a huge push. I saw. I think he might beat Okada.
Me too. I was just about to say, I think they're setting him up for their one of their next shows coming up. I believe, unless it's already signed, I don't know. But I really think, I can see Sonata beating Okada, because Okada's definitely not going to repeat his run as IWGP Heavyweight Champion like he did last time. His last one was record breaking, over 700 days champion. I think it was 12 successful title defenses. You're not going to get that this time around, but I think someone like Sonata maybe do. And not only that, but I think it would make, no offense to Okada, a better match at Wrestle Kingdom if it's Kota Ibushi against Sonata.
I agree. I really do agree with that. Sonata, you ever him in TNA?
I do. He was with the blue face paint. And he was with James Storm.
Yeah, and before that, he was with the Great Muta brought him in. But he was just a cruiserweight pretty much. Yeah. And then he just gains a bunch of muscle and facial hair, and he's a beast. Joins LIJ.
And that's it. Game over. And that's what's awesome about New Japan. New Japan really, they focused. I don't get. The only storylines I ever followed were the ones that Jericho were involved in, because I feel like those are the only storylines. There's matches, but not really storylines. And I think Sonata was able to, I wouldn't say overcome that because it's part of New Japan, but I think he's definitely making it work for him.
Oh yeah, he definitely is. He's become a highlight of his the G1. Every match he was in, people were like, "Hey, watch this Sonata match. Watch this Sonata match."
Yeah, which
was like really cool to hear that. But yeah, we'll get away from Sonata for a little bit and get to our next match, which was the first title match of the night.
Okay.
IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, the Girls of Destiny, defeated Aussie Open. Aussie Open got this title shot at a Rev Pro show. Are you familiar with Aussie Open?
No, I'm going to be honest with you. No.
Phenomenal match.
Really? Was it? Because I've seen GOD with their recent matches against the Briscoes in Ring of Honor that have been wild and just violent and physical. And you know, these are the sons of Haku. So, I mean, you gotta, you know, if you're gonna step in the ring with them, you gotta prepare to get your teeth knocked out. But I liked the idea of working with Rev Pro, doing that where Rev Pro did the tournament, and the winners, Aussie Open, got a shot at the title. So that's pretty cool for New Japan and for Rev Pro.
Yeah, Aussie Open is Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher, and they have been making like just a huge splash in the UK scene over the last 2 years. Like when they came to Progress, they actually wasn't a tag team. Progress just they got put together because they were new to Progress.
Okay.
But they gelled. They just gelled so well, and they ended up they came over here. They had a match with LAX. They've had a lot of matches with LAX that are worth watching. And then they did some stuff with CCK, Gresham, Johnson Gresham, and Chris Brooks. It was phenomenal. They came over here and wrestled the Southern Indie heroes, Bosses Forever, Dominic Greeny, and Kevin Koo, and just killed it with them. Those dudes are awesome. You know,
it's this influx of wrestlers from Australia really seems to be this seems like their time, Australia's time to finally get into the wrestling scene.
Oh, yeah. So. Is. I mean, yeah, the Dakota Kai. Well, no, Dakota Kai's New Zealand.
Well, she's New Zealand, so it's borderline. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's not like the Iconics, but
Oh yeah.
But I mean, think about it. The Iconics, Tanisha, Emma, you know, Buddy Murphy, that bum,
dude,
and you know, Aussie Open, TM661. So yeah, you know, the Australians, I'm looking forward to it because so far they've been breeding good talent. So we'll see. Who's that new guy who's in the that breakout tournament on NXT? The big guy, was Aussie Strong Style. I can't remember his name. Dang it!
I saw it there on TV, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah. So good. We're looking forward to the Australians, but let's go back to New Japan because I want to go back and watch this match for the Never Openweight Championship.
Yeah, so Kenta defeated Ishii. It was a pretty good match. It definitely got outshined by the next two.
Oh, did it? I would have thought with Kenta and you know, just that brick that's Ishii, this match would have been the GTS probably would have been rendered useless.
I'll tell you what hurt this match. It was the use of Jeddo, whatever his name is.
Oh, really?
Bullet Club interference. If it wasn't for that, it's a straight fight with those two. It would have been awesome.
Well, that's Bullet Club for you.
Yeah, it just really ruined it. But there was a spot where Ishii German Kenta, and he got messed up pretty bad. Apparently he's injured right now, but he should be good.
Who, Ishii or Kenta?
Kenta.
God, Kenta's always hurt.
Yeah, so hopefully that don't really hurt a whole lot. But
yeah.
He's got a big match with Kota Ibushi coming up.
Ooh, that should be good. That was good. Wait, didn't they meet in the tournament in the G1? Not the G1.
Yeah, they won.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, in Dallas.
G1.
It was G1. Okay. I get these tournaments confused sometimes with New Japan. Every week there's a new tournament. The Young Lions,
Yeah. I started today, or this morning.
Oh, did it? Yeah. A wacky time difference. Alrighty. So here's the one. I know you were waiting for.
Oh, man. This is hard to say.
For the British heavyweight title.
Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Zack Sabre Jr.
Finally. And he's been chasing him since April, right? Basically.
Yes, it's been a while. They've had some good matches. And if y'all know me, y'all know Saber's my favorite wrestler. I have like a mentor, Tanahashi. Straight up.
Tanahashi's a rock and roller.
He is, man. Freaking air guitar. This is a pretty good match. I mean, every match they had is really good. I wouldn't say this is their best match they've had this year, but it's definitely like up there as one of their best matches. But
I love their match at the Garden. That was a good match.
Oh yeah,
yep.
That was really good. But that was interesting to finally put it on Tanahashi. I don't think he'll keep it long. I think he'll drop it back to Saber. But it was just cool to have that twist for them. And if you want to get to a good match though, this next match is worth seeking out.
Oh, this was the other. Yeah, I can only imagine this one.
Yeah, because I can't say his name. Okada.
Kazuchika Okada. I know. I always have trouble saying his first name too.
Okada defeated Minoru Suzuki for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and that match was a effort of a match.
Dude, Minoru Suzuki is just—he's in a world of his own, and he's been wrestling for what, like over 30 years at this point.
Yeah.
And actually, him and Okada fought at Suzuki's like 30th anniversary show. Like it started raining.
Mm-hmm.
It was like right after Okada lost the title, I think, to Kenny Omega. But Suzuki, the first time I actually saw Minoru Suzuki wrestle, because I'm new to New Japan, probably within the last year and a half, when Suzuki took on Cody, when Cody was ROH champion. And I see this guy come out. I'm like, all right, he's an older guy from New Japan. Interesting. And like, it almost seemed like he like no-sold everything that Cody did, but he did it in a way that was just like, this is really awesome. And he could probably legitimately snap your neck if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, this no sales wasn't a work.
Oh no, not at all, not at all. And even like when his music hit at the Garden during the Honor Rumble, like just to see even the American fans go ballistic when Suzuki came out. But Okada, he's good. You know, there's a reason why he's a 5-time IWGP champion. They don't just slap the title on anybody over there. So he can adapt to your style. And seeing how this was the longest match at 33 minutes and a successful title defense for Okada, you know, it's matches like that where Okada should be happy they don't defend the title like every month.
Yeah, I mean, Suzuki gave it too. I mean, you see Okada and Shibata how they was just very stiff. This was different than that. Like, luckily no one came out with a career-ending injury.
Yeah, right.
And Suzuki brought it to him. And honestly, I thought Suzuki was going to win it because everybody was hot for Suzuki. Suzuki's been out of the picture for a while, so I thought, what a really cool surprise to have a guy who's been kind of out of the picture just win the belt. And like I said, the crowd was hot for him. And the crowd loves him in the UK because he's the Revolution Pro. He was the Revolution Pro Wrestling champion. Was that Sabre Jr.? I think they're still the tag champs.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But like, so he's pretty hot in the UK. And but man, like, I caught a hung with him and took a beating. He came out on top. But man, it's worth seeking out. I mean, it was fantastic.
All right, awesome. I'm definitely going to check that out on NJPWWorld.com. All right, now before we get to the other two big shows of the weekend, let's talk about GCW. Game Changer Wrestling. Okay. I think I've talked about it in the past. I'm not going to condemn it. It's just not for me. You know, the style of GCW, which is basically the same style as Combat Zone Wrestling, just this ultra-violent hardcore. Not for me. Especially when I saw it live that one time. But you love it, which is awesome. And let's talk about some probably crazy matches that happened at GCW last weekend.
Well, not every match is a death match GCW. They're like ECW now. Like, some matches are like pure sport wrestling.
Okay.
And others are deathmatch. So
That's cool.
Very good mix. I think you'd like it if you watch one of those shows.
I mean, look, I mean, the regular matches, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, at first, I'm like when ECW came out, I'm like, this is nuts. This is crazy. But then I kind of saw how ECW, even with their hardcore matches, just made it like they was still telling a story. The one time I saw GCW live, someone put a fish hook through someone else's cheek and, like, snap-mared him off the turnbuckle, and then the cops showed up. That's a whole nother story, and that's a shoot. The cops showed up, and the show stopped for about 10 minutes. So
that's great. And wasn't Nick Gage's tournament too?
It was. I think it was the second tournament, and I'm outside. Like, we were outside of the building somewhere in Jersey. I forgot where it was. I was there with a buddy of mine promoting at the time the upcoming Pro Wrestling Syndicate show. And I forgot what match was going on. All of a sudden, I hear sirens. I'm like, maybe someone got hurt. No, it's the cops. Because someone somehow reported, I don't know if it was a noise complaint or something, which I don't understand because it was in a warehouse in the middle of a highway somewhere. So the cop showed up. All of a sudden, you're like, all right, close the doors, everybody inside. Everybody, I'm like, am I getting arrested? Because I didn't pay for this show, and I'm not really interested in being arrested right now. But it was nuts. That's awesome. It was crazy. But what happened at this GCW show? Did the cops show up?
So I was on the card. No cops, okay. But an ambulance had to come.
Oh, God.
But we'll get to that.
Oh, boy.
I'll run through the card real quick. First match was Violence is Forever, Dominic Green and Kevin Cody, my boys, versus the Filthy F's. I don't want to cuss them here.
Fair enough.
Tom Lawler and Eric Stevens. They defeated Stevens and Lawler. Pretty good little opening tag match. Stevens was helped to the back end of the match, so he suffered an injury somehow. So that sucks for Stevens. Eric Stevens is the guy who was in the Indies for a while, who had an injury, stayed away for a while. Making this comeback this year and needs to injured. So I hope he makes it out.
Okay.
Second match, you had Homicide defeating Ethan Page.
Ethan Page?
Yeah.
Wow, I like Ethan Page, too. Yeah, I like Ethan Page from Evolve, and now one half of the Impact Tag Champions. Oh, yeah.
It's always good seeing Homicide. I've seen Homicide live, and he hit me with a garbage can once. So.
Voluntarily or involuntarily?
Probably a little bit of both. It's Homicide. Man.
That is true.
Next, we had a trios match. Lost Serpentines. Ophidian, Laredo Kid, and Ares defeated Lost Beast, Black Taurus, Gringo Loco, and KTB.
Okay.
And it was a really fun match.
Lucha Libre 6-man tag. All right, that's cool.
Yeah, the deal was cool because Ophidian, Laredo Kid, and Ares was the smaller guys, whereas Black Taurus, Gringo Loco, and KTB were the bigger, luchadors. So
okay.
Cool dynamic seeing that.
That's cool.
And the little guys won. Larry, hope you're ready for this.
Oh, boy. Who wrestled what blow-up doll or something?
You're going to wish it was a blow-up doll after I tell you he was in this match.
All right.
So Mance Warner was defeated by being Paul drove through a door by Jerry the King Lawler.
One more. Give that to me one more time. Let me let that sink in.
Mance Warner was defeated by being Paul drove through a door by Jerry the King
Lawler.
What
was Jerry Lawler doing there? Good Lord.
I don't know.
Son of a gun. What? Was it a good match at least?
It was alright. I mean, it is what it was. I mean, it was what it was. I mean, the fact that you saw a hardcore spot by Jerry Lawler was like, what the heck? I mean,
yeah, I thought he stood out in ECW that time. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it was like 1 in the morning. I'm like, what is going on? It was like Rick and Morton doing the Canadian story all over again.
Oh, don't even get me started with them. All righty.
So, moving on, there was a match, Doors, Ladders, and Chairs. So, DLC.
Yeah, doors are the new thing now.
Yeah, I love it. I guess they're cheaper.
I guess, and I can see they're different than tables, so.
But, in this match, Tony Deppen won, and it was him, Jimmy Lloyd, Matthew Justice, Kobe Durst, Blake Christian, G. Raver, Shane Mercer, Alex Zane, and Logan Stunt.
Good Lord. What was it, like a battle royal or something? Or just like a scramble?
Yeah, it was like a scramble ladder match. There was what was on the line? It was a fanny pack on the line with something in it. I can't remember. But I think it was like a title shot or something.
All right.
But coming up in one, but in the match, G Raver was on top. G Raver brought a ladder in that had like lot bolts taped to it, of course. Him and Jimmy Lloyd was doing a spot on it. Jimmy Lloyd was trying to throw him off of it, but when G Raver with the fall, he landed head and armpit on the light bulbs and fell, and it slashed his arm from his elbow to his armpit.
Ugh.
So he was rushed to the hospital.
Unbelievable.
He's okay though. He has some nerve damage. He's okay.
Still, you don't want to see anyone get hurt, so that sucks.
Brutal. After that, you had Gary J defeat Warhorse. Those two guys, Gary J and Jake Parnell, these guys I've talked about a lot on here before. Have had great matches over the Midwest and the South, and it's cool to see them on GCW have a match. After that, you had Gangrel defeat Orange Cassidy.
Okay, wait a minute. So first you had Jerry the King Lawler, a Hall of Famer. Now you have Gangrel against... and again, I'm not saying this to be rude. I'm just trying to let it sink in. Against Orange Cassidy, did Orange Cassidy take his hands out of his pocket at any point in the match?
A couple times.
Okay.
To drink out the little chalice, to drink some blood.
We're going to talk about Orange Cassidy a little bit later as well. But how did that match go?
It was all right. Gangrel can still go. He's taking care of himself.
Okay.
He's clean. He's a born again Christian. He's definitely not the person he was back in the 90s.
Good for him.
Cleaned up a lot and stayed healthy.
Excellent.
And this next match was interesting. It was Nick Gage successfully defending the GCW Heavyweight Championship against Effie. Are you familiar with Effie?
Effie? No, I'm not familiar with Effie.
Okay.
Should I look up Effie?
You should.
Right. How do you spell it?
I would say he's a EFFY.
Okay.
He's a pillar in wrestling, becoming more of a place and for the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
He's openly gay, but he comes out in his little trunks and fishnet stockings. Just a very flamboyant, weird guy. But the dude can go. So the promo leading up to him and Nick Gage was Nick Gage, you say you're the toughest guy. Well, dude, I grew up getting called all these gay slurs and this stuff. No, man, I'm here to prove that I'm the toughest guy. Dude, Effie is not a deathmatch wrestler, though. He doesn't do that stuff. That dude took a beating by Gage. He had block ball cut.
Really?
That dude took it to Gage, and it was awesome.
Oh yeah,
I love Effie.
I'm looking up Effie now. Match against Sue Young, but
yeah.
All right, interesting. Hey, look, that's what GC. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay. Okay, interesting. It's weird, and the reason I'm stumbling over my words is when you see a wrestler like that, meaning not a hardcore wrestler, kind of like when David Arquette stepped in the ring for some reason against Nick Gage. Yeah. It's I wonder what they're getting into, and I wonder at what point Nick Gage is like, all right, let me see if I can mess around with this person while we're in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, Effie brought it, man. Effie brought the bolts first. It ended Nick Gage gave everything to Effie. Effie kept taking it out. Finally, Nick Gage got two chairs, set them up, and Joe sent Effie through, and that's what ended it. But it was definitely a match to seek out. I know you're not a deathmatch guy, but there's a good dynamic of non-deathmatch versus deathmatch.
I'm not saying I won't watch it, but I'll check it out.
So that was GCW and Black Label Pro. It was a combo show, 2 cups stuffed. And before we move on from GCW, there's a match that Larry wants to talk about. Yes,
before we move on. So, my good friend here told me a while ago about this match. GCW, it happened during Joey Janela's, what's it called? Private party?
Spring break.
Spring break, excuse me. I'm sorry, spring break. WrestleMania weekend, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It was GCW in front of a live crowd. It was Invisible Man, You heard me correct, and take that literally. Versus his brother, Invisible Stan. I gotta say, this match was amazing to watch for two major reasons. One, to see how, because there was a referee in the match, and the crowd of, I would say, 500 people, wasn't a large crowd at all. It was a small crowd. But everyone knew what was going on in a match against two invisible people. Even with the referee not necessarily miming what's happening, but everyone kind of knew what was going on. Which I thought was amazing. And I know there's a lot of people out there. I can name a few people. My co-host of the Yin and the Yang podcast, Anthony Chu. I know the boys over there at Monty and the Pharaoh, and I am sure Jim Cornette are all going to say, oh, this is garbage, this is video game wrestling, this does not belong in professional wrestling. I bet all of those guys, myself, maybe even you, growing up at some point, you had nothing to do, you were young, you're in your room, and you put on a pretend match against an invisible opponent. We all have. But to see two invisible people, yes, I said that right, people, two invisible people wrestle. One was sadistically thrown off the balcony, which was a feat I've never seen in my life. But then out of nowhere, one puts the other through a table, and the table broke. The table broke. I was like, I'm done. That's it. This was fantastic. Bro, I remember you telling me about it when you told me the table bit. I'm like, how the hell did they get a table break? And I watched it, and just my imagination just completely ran wild, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, Brock Winsberg, the referee, that dude's a great ref. He's Chikara fame. That dude really, he was the best ref for that, because he's from Chikara, so he knows the weirdness of wrestling.
Yeah,
and he had the crowd following so well.
Oh, totally, absolutely, the whole time. And then what's his face came in at some point. The mask. I can't.
Kikatara.
Yes. He got knocked. He didn't do as good of a job as the referee did, but yeah, it was. I'm gonna post that matchup after this episode airs. I'm gonna post a link on the Facebook page, Talking More Wrestling. And folks, I want you honest comments. Don't just be a jerk about it. But you can like it, you cannot like it. But I want to hear your comments. Watch the match in its entirety. It's not that long, and let me know what you think. And I'm sure, Brandon, that's not the last match I know you're going to show me. I know I found the Kota Ibushi against El Generico in a kayak match. That was interesting. Going down the river. What?
That was great.
So we'll. I'm sure you have more to come on those.
Oh yeah.
I'll make you an admin. Just post them. Just post them on the page whenever you can.
Yeah. Oh, I will. I'll find some weird stuff.
No, not too weird, please. I got to deal with Josh on that with the weirdness. All right, so let's head over from London, England. Let's fly up north to Cardiff, Wales for NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. In an event, A, that had the most matches, I think, for any takeover, whether it's UK or the US, and B, continues the tradition of takeovers of being absolutely phenomenal, in my opinion.
This was the card of the weekend.
It really was. I think it was even, dare I say, I think it was maybe even better than AEW. But we're going to get into that in a moment. So let's talk about the matches. I'll announce here, the show opens up, Noam Dar and Travis Banks.
Man, that was so cool to see them open that up, because those are two Progress guys. Two dudes that I've been following for a long time, and they had a really good opener and got the tone set, and Noam Dar got a win that he really needed.
Yes, I agree. You know, he's come a long way from the Alicia Fox on 205 Live. You know, it's, you know, a lot of these guys go back down to NXT or NXT UK and they're rejuvenated. You know, it's, which says a lot about the main roster, which is a whole another story for another time. But speaking of being rejuvenated, this match, I know you're gonna have a lot to talk about. When Ilya Dragunov took on the Swiss cyborg Cesaro.
When I heard that Cesaro was coming into that show, I was like, "Oh my God, Pete Dunne, please, or a Hero, or Christian Sono, because, you know, Kings of Wrestling."
Okay.
Dragunov was a guy I didn't think about. And I'm a big Dragunov fan. I loved him in WXW. His progress was great. When he got announced to be signed to the NXT UK also excited, even though it kept us from getting Dragunov versus Masao Tanaka at Spring Break, but I'll get over that.
You won't lose too much sleep. That's true. That's true.
It was booked, but they had to pull it. Oh, well, whatever. But, man, like, Cesaro looked like the star of that company.
He did. He looked like he was enjoying it again. I've gone on record, I know you'll agree with me, I think Cesaro should have been world champion by now. That's neither here nor there at this point. But when he went down, just like when he took on Sami Zayn in the first ever, well, at the time it was just NXT Arrival, you know, it just looked like he was able to be himself. And the hard hits that Triple H lets him get away with down there, or in this case over there, and then you get to the big swing, and he went like 40 rotations.
Yeah,
I thought he was going for 100. I honestly thought he was going for 100.
Me too.
But you know, like, what else could you possibly say about this match? That just was it the match of the night?
For me, it was, and it's biased because I'm a huge Cesaro. Cesaro is in my top 5.
Fair enough.
All time.
Yep.
I mean, just to be honest. And Dragunov's a guy who, when I saw him in WXW, I related with him. And then when he left for a little bit to take care of some family stuff, like, he didn't think he was coming back to wrestling. And that was really sad. And then he made a return in WXW's 16-karat gold like a year and a half later. And that surprise match against Walter. Walter was the champ. Open challenge. Dragunov comes back, unannounced, huge pop, beats Walter for the title.
Oh, wow.
And, like, just, yeah, dude was nuts. And the dude, I mean, the dude can give a beating. He can take a beating. I mean, the dude's just, I mean, he's crazy. He's just, I mean, he's the future of the company. And you can tell Cesaro enjoyed working with him. And I hope we see more of those guys.
Yeah, me too. Totally. And then it sucks because then Cesaro comes back and he loses in the first round of the King of the Ring tournament. So, you know, it's...
He lost to The Miz last night, or Monday night.
Yeah, so that's true too. I mean, I like The Miz, but, you know, coming off of that match in NXT. But then again, Vince has no idea that NXT or NXT UK exists, so let's leave it that way.
He didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Cesaro should stay there.
Honestly, he's probably better off. And you know what? Let's real quick. Now that NXT, you know, the regular NXT, is moving to the USA Network and is going to be live every Wednesday for 2 hours, and it's Triple H supposedly has gone on record saying that Vince still will have nothing to do with NXT. Triple H is still going to run NXT, still going to be at a Full Sail. Do you think we're going to see some guys head back to NXT, because now it's not just some taped show on the network. Now it's on USA live for 2 hours every week.
Oh, I think they will. I think the first few that we will see, I think Cesaro, I think Mike Kanellis.
Ooh, that'd be nice. Yes.
Will go.
Yes.
And this is one more. I think we'll go just to do it. I can see Kurt Hawkins doing it.
Well, Zack Ryder did it, so I can see Kurt doing it.
Yeah.
All right. I definitely hope to see that, because now it's almost like now it's like a legitimate third brand that it's on USA. And
you could, since that's on TV now, they need to do more with the UK.
Exactly. That's true. Hopefully.
Make it bigger. So hopefully.
Put that at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. The UK show. All right, so let's get into what was an amazing tag team title match for the NXT UK tag titles. The grizzled young veterans were defending against Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan Webster, and the team of Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang.
Another bittersweet one for me because Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster, progress guys. Pat Gibson, and straight progress guys. The other two, not really, but I like them. But those four, I mean...
Aren't the grizzled young vets current progress tag champions? Well, at least as of NXT UK, they were. I think.
Yes. I feel like they might have... No, you're right. No, they are. Yeah,
okay.
They are.
And, of course, Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster from Cardiff. And they did walk out the new NXT UK Tag Champions. First champions ever from Wales. And that place went nuts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they, like... It was time to get it off the Grizzly Young Vets. I mean, they need to really redo that tag team division. And putting Flash and Andrews together was very odd. When you have Eddie Dennis there, because him and Mark Andrews is a big tag team in progress. Mm-hmm. And then Wild Boar and Webster are a tag team in progress too. So it's like, why are you putting them together? I don't know why. But it was awesome to see that. It was a great match. I mean, it definitely was a match I didn't think I'd like as much as I did. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of Coffey and Wolfgang. I mean, those dudes did their job, you know.
Yeah, I thought they were going to walk out. I honestly thought Gallus was going to win. But, no, it was cool to see Andrews and Webster take the gold for the Welsh. No, the Wales, whatever they're called. Yeah, Welsh, right? Yeah. For those in Wales. Next up, and I even... So, real quick, just to sidetrack, I watched TakeOver and half of All Out, because unfortunately I had to head home early. But I watched the shows in New York City at a bar called Jack Dempsey's. A wonderful bar on West 33rd. If you're ever in New York City, check it out. They were showing both TakeOver and All Out. And I got there like 1:45 in the afternoon. Didn't leave till about 10 o'clock at night because I wanted to catch a train to get back early. Because after being there all day, I was hot. I was tired. A little drunk. I'm like, I think it's time for me to go home. So unfortunately, I missed the second half of AEW, but being there at Jack Dempsey's and just being in that crowd watching the UK show, I mean, you got sucked into it to the point, this is what I'm getting at, I hate last man standing matches. They're my least, they're my least favorite match. I feel like there's not a lot you can do, and you're just sitting there for 10 seconds, every now and again, waiting for someone to stand up. It was Joe Coffey against Dave Mastiff, and as much as I don't like last man standing matches, these guys made me go, that last man standing match was awesome.
Oh, yeah, it was really good. I mean, the last TakeOver for the UK, Dave Mastiff and Eddie Dennis had like a no DQ match. It ended up being really awesome. Mastiff, despite his size, the dude can work.
I like Mastiff a lot. And Mastiff was in Fighting With My Family, the Page movie. He was a progress guy. He was. That's probably why. But the match went all over the arena. I can even deal with the ending, how the ending went, where Joe Coffey kind of kicked the table that Dave was trying to hike himself up with, and then he fell to the ground, thus the 10 count. But this last man standing shows again, Triple H is letting these guys go a little more than they would on the main roster.
Yeah, it's okay to do that.
Absolutely.
I mean, just let them go.
Like the what was it? Like the dive, not the dive, but when they fell off the top above the commentators table. I thought poor Nigel McGuinness was going to get caught in the middle or something like that. But this was, in my opinion, I wanted to talk about this one because, like I said, I'm not crazy about last man standing matches, but I'm going to put this up with the Becky and Charlotte last woman standing match at Evolution because that one I loved as well. So, good stuff. Good stuff. The next, now this match, I got to admit, I unfortunately missed. And I literally had to leave at the beginning of the match, and I came back as soon as the ending. For the NXT UK Women's title, it was Kaylee Ray going up against defending champion Toni Storm.
It was a pretty good match. I've seen them have better matches in Pro Wrestling Eve. Pro Wrestling Eve, just real quick, is a women's promotion in the UK that is the Women's Progress.
Okay.
And they do the matches there. That is worth seeking out. Is Pro Wrestling Eve. It's like $10 a month on Vivid Share.
Mm-hmm.
Get their service. Worth checking out. A lot of these girls that's in the UK, NXT UK, came from there. Much like Progress,
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Worth seeking out.
And shockingly, Kaylee Ray won the title.
That was a huge shock to me, being like really in with the UK scene. I kind of felt like that was going to happen. Kaylee Ray is a pretty big deal. I mean, like last year, I told a lot of people she was my wrestler of the year, and I didn't mean just women's wrestling. I mean, in general, wrestler of the year. I just adored her matches last year. And when she got signed to NXT UK, people were bummed because she wouldn't be wrestling Eve anymore. Wouldn't be wrestling other indies anymore. It was a huge bummer. So when she came, everyone was like, all right, Kaylee Ray's here. She's got to be the face of this division. And I think she should be. It will be. Nothing against Toni Storm. I love Toni Storm. But Kaylee Ray, like, this is the Kaylee Ray show. Like, it's time for her to show why she's there, to prove, show us why she got there,
Awesome. And it was a short match, too. I thought it would have gone longer. Less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, that kind of bugged me, but, I mean, you saw how long the main event was. So I guess they had to chase some
That's
time,
what I was thinking, because look at it. I mean, these matches, 13 minutes, 12 minutes, 20 minutes was the tag title match. And then, in my opinion, match of the year contender, it was for the WWE United Kingdom Championship, defending champion Walter against the inaugural champion Tyler Bate. David versus Goliath. And at some points during this match, I flashed back to the Pontiac Silverdome. I flashed back to WrestleMania 3. And for a moment, very brief moments, I flashed back to Hogan and Andre.
You were a lot for that.
Well, thank you. Wow. I was. I remember asking for tickets to WrestleMania 3. I would have been 6 or 7. 6, because it would have been before my birthday. Not realizing the geographical difference between Brooklyn, New York, and Detroit, Michigan, and plus asking for tickets like 2 weeks before the show. But I was alive, thank you. And because of horrible technology back then, having to record onto a VHS tape, I didn't get a chance to watch the opening match till decades later when it came out on DVD. For the longest time, I never saw the Can-Am Connection against Magnificent Morocco and Cowboy Bob Orton. So it took a long time for me to see that.
Who wants to watch that?
What? It's a fantastic match.
I know.
Dare you, sir. What are your thoughts on Walter and Tyler Bate?
You couldn't ask for a better main event, man. I mean, these two just to get a quick progress story. I'm a progress marker.
You think?
These dudes were the saving grace. There's a Progress does Super Strong Style 16 every year. Last year, Zack Sabre Jr. won. So at their big show last year, it was supposed to be Sabre and Walter made it for the belt. Sabre couldn't do it because New Japan obligations, so they gave it. So they gave the shot to Tyler Bate because they needed a replacement for that. The show was sold out. The main event was Knicks because of obligations with Sabre in Japan. So it was Bate, and Bate and Walter had that match. Phenomenal match. But this match at TakeOver outshined that match in my opinion.
Really?
But these dudes, these dudes, if you need a show to be saved, these are the guys to put on the card. I mean, these dudes just have great chemistry. Tyler Bates, he's smaller guy than Walter, but that dude's a freaking hoss in his own right.
No, totally. Even the bar out Jack Dempsey's, it was probably only like 40 or 50 people there. It wasn't a lot of people. But, I mean, the whole place chant, Walter, let's go, Tyler. Even in the bar, it was going back and forth. Walter, if I was ever a professional wrestler, if I ever stepped into the ring, the one move I would be terrified to take is a chop. I'm not even talking about from Walter. I'm just talking about a regular chop. Just something about it. I don't know. Maybe because I have a heart issue or whatever. I don't know. But Walter... Like, does someone tell him that, let's kayfabe it a little bit? Because he tries to chop you through your soul. And Tyler Bate, for what it's worth, man, to take those from diving off the top rope, going through the rope, just standing there. I mean, I can't imagine how he can absorb that and still be able to come back and put on the show that he put on with Walter. Especially near the end, after going over 40 minutes. The power lifts, when I said I was harking back to Andre and Hogan, when he body slammed Walter, it had a very Andre Hogan moment. Like that epic picture of Hogan slamming Andre. But yeah, I would pay money to see them two, just them two.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it was a classic. A match that we talked about for a long time, and I think, in my opinion, was the best WWE banner match of the year.
I agree. I absolutely agree, and I'm glad that the WWE was able to see that. Like you said, they wrestled other places, but to let them wrestle here in the WWE in that manner, well worth it, and that's the reason to have the WWE Network. So, overall, TakeOver UK, thumbs up, not 5 stars, but thumbs up, a plus, good to go. Better than Blackpool?
I give 2 thumbs up. Yeah, I think
okay.
I thought they were Blackpool.
All right, cool. And, all right, and I know we're going to run short on time here. Not too much. I'm not going to stop it, but I want to get through All Out, and there are key matches I think both you and I want to talk about with All Out. And I'm just going to go straight to the pay-per-view. You had the opening match on the pay-per-view, SoCal Uncensored, against one of the gimmicks I am really starting to get behind. A boy and his dinosaur, and Marco Stunt. So Jungle Boy Luchasaurus, so I'm all in with, and Marco Stunt. Of course, SoCal Uncensored getting the dupe. But, what is it about goofy gimmicks like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt, who I'm not sure is considered a little wrestler or a regular size wrestler? Like, what are your thoughts on some of these weird gimmicks sometimes?
Watch your mouth on Marco Stunt.
What?
That's my boy. Real quick, when I went to SCI a month ago, me and him sat in the hotel lobby, and we shared 3 White Claws together. I was going to watch people karaoke, and we talked about that. That's my boy.
Well, your first problem right there is you're having a White Claw, but be that as it may.
Hey.
But that probably, I got to imagine that was really cool, just shooting the garbage with him, and I mean, he seems very down to earth, and it's cool that AEW is giving him a shot. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's pretty sweet. And then Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, because Jungle Boy being the son of Luke Perry. I'm just getting a kick out of these gimmicks.
Oh yeah, I mean, Marco, I would say he's not big because of his size. The dude can go. The dude is an amazing wrestler.
Yep.
Incredible. Jungle Boy is doing crap I've never seen him do before.
Really?
Like the thing he does, what's the thing he does, like little knee thing on the ropes, the back foot thing he does.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen that before until Luchasaurus, a giant man that can do things that he can do, and he has a PhD, just for that.
Of course, next up, what we were supposed to get, which we're actually going to get at the next pay-per-view. The AEW's next pay-per-view is geared up or
Full Gear.
Full Gear. That was close. So we were supposed to get it All Out. John Moxley versus Kenny Omega, which is probably going to be the semi-main event. Moxley came down with an infection in his elbow again, so he had to back out. But we got Pac, who some of you may remember as Neville from the WWE, and Pac, the Bastard, took on Kenny Omega. A, I was shocked it was the second match of the night, and B, I was even more shocked at the outcome.
I thought it was a good spot to put him there, though.
Oh, for them too, yes.
Because the matches were a little short after that, so they gave him a good time. The ending I thought was great. Him winning with a submission, and honestly, Kenny didn't need that win. Pac needed it after being pulled from that last show.
True.
He really needed that. And it gets a good storyline of Kenny Omega too. Like Kenny Omega, like losing his step a little bit, not wrestling as much, and just keeps losing. So that's a good story arc for Kenny Omega.
And not only that, but even with the commentators, they would talk about like maybe Kenny was too focused on Jon Moxley, not focused on Pac. Plus, in an organization where wins and losses count, when the wrestlers came out, they actually put their win-loss record next to their name, which I think is really cool. I like that idea. But yeah, cool. Pac submitting Kenny Omega. It was a long match, but it was definitely a fantastic match. Sometimes some of these matches, I'm like, I wonder what JR is thinking when he's calling them. The Cracker Barrel Clash. Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, and the bad boy, Joey Janela.
Yeah, that's just awesome.
I'm not saying it was a bad match, but you had Cracker Barrels, you had a thumbtack skateboard, and God knows what else came out in the match. I know these are three of your, guys that you do like to watch, and I know you're a big fan of Jimmy Havoc.
Progress Original. Let me ask you a question real quick.
Okay.
Being from New York, are you a Cracker Barrel fan?
I do love Cracker Barrel, obviously, in New York, though I think they are opening one on Long Island somewhere, along the LIE, the Long Island Expressway. But when I do travel, if we see a Cracker Barrel, we're getting breakfast at a Cracker Barrel.
Absolutely. Cracker Barrel is like the national anthem to me. That's holy. That's holy ground.
Down south, they gotta be one every mile, right? I mean, forget about
Oh no, dude! Down south, I'm not kidding. At every interstate exit, there's a Cracker Barrel. You see it. Like every like semi-big town in Alabama and the South, interstate Cracker Barrel right there. Can't miss it.
Oh man, yeah. So I don't get as much Cracker Barrel as I'd like, but Cracker Barrel. I don't know how AEW got in with Cracker Barrel, but this was a very fun match. Darby Allin almost died, I think, twice in this match.
Yeah,
especially with the coffin dive with the Cracker Barrel onto the stairs. What do you think of this match?
Man, this match was like chaotically beautiful. Like,
okay.
Just a lot of chaos and just a lot of crazy spots, and like the skateboard sport was cool. Jill almost died missing Havoc with that moonsault to the outside.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one.
I mean, he just wrestled with Great Sasuke in Japan like the week before.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that. Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then, meanwhile, he had trouble hitting a moonsault, but he did a perfect monkey flip with the chair.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that was a cool spot. I've seen that spot before. I've seen it live with him and Allen, but everything they did this spot was cool. I love seeing Havoc get the win, though.
Yes.
Like, he needed that win, and it was well deserved. Like, he's a guy who, if they did a secondary title, like, he should be the one who.
I can see that
first.
I can see that. Joey Janela, the only thing I'm upset he lost was Penelope Ford. So in a match where the winners received the first round bye in the upcoming AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament, the Dark Order defeated Best Friends. And I love Best Friends. They're a great tag team. But the match was good, but let's talk about afterwards when Best Friends found a new friend in the middle of the ring. And I'm talking about Orange Cassidy.
Freshly squeezed.
If you don't know can you describe Orange Cassidy for those who may not be familiar with him?
All right, so he's this. How tall do you think he is? Like 6?
I would say. I mean, he looked like he's about as tall as Trent and Chuck Taylor were. They're probably about 6'1". No, not maybe about 6 feet. Yeah.
He's a little lanky.
Yeah.
Comes out with sunglasses, like nasty blue jeans, a jacket,
denim jacket,
with his hands tucked in his pants. Yeah, and he has orange because most of the time.
And what he did was, this is what's amazing. So he keeps his hands in his pockets. And he did a suicide dive through the ropes with his hands in the pockets the whole time. Me, I'd be panicking. I'd be flailing around trying to grab the ring rope or something like that. And of course, he also does the slow motion stuff, which I I don't know what to make of it, folks. I mean, look, I'm not saying I'm old school, and I'm not saying it's bad, but it is just, it gets some getting used to for guys like me. That's all. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, he's an acquired taste.
And then, unfortunately, at that point, that's when I had to head the train back home so I can catch it at a reasonable hour, because the alcohol was getting to me. In a singles match where earlier on the buy-in, Nyla Rose won the Casino Battle Royale. So she is going to take on the winner of Shida and Rio, and they will meet on the first episode of AEW on TNT, October 2nd, for the AEW Women's Championship. And it was Riho, shockingly, in my opinion, defeating Shida. I love Shida.
Yeah, see, I like Rio a lot, too. I think there's a lot of favor there because her and Omega are really good friends, and they tagged a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised she's getting pushed. Now, I do think she gets upset over Nyla Rose.
Okay.
Which she should. Nyla Rose, I'm not a fan of. I just don't think she's very good. Like, she looked good in that triple threat she had with them, too.
Yes.
The last show.
Yes.
But it's because of them, too. But in that Battle Royal, her spots were sloppy.
You know what it is?
Not good.
I'm never a fan of, like, just someone dominating like that. And Nyla dominated the Casino Battle Royale, which, I'm not a fan of that part, but, we'll see what happens come October 2nd from Washington, D.C. for AEW's first show on TNT. And, Rio and Nyla Rose, so we're going to check that out. The match, I thought, and again, unfortunately I didn't see it, so you tell me, I thought it was going to be the match of the night. Cody taking on Shawn Spears. The very lucky Shawn Spears, who's currently married to Peyton Royce.
I forgot to write this match down. That's how much I didn't like it.
Wow. Okay. Oh, man. We got our first major difference. I didn't even see the match. It was a good lead-up. The chair shot on Cody, which inadvertently busted him open, which I think should have helped the storyline. Shawn Spears had Tully Blanchard in his corner. And, from the highlights that I saw, at one point Arn Anderson comes out and hits a spine buster on Shawn Spears, who oversold it tremendously, the spine buster. But Cody gets the win. But what didn't you like about the match? Just not two guys that you're interested in?
What was that? Too much interference. The best part was Arn Anderson giving Spears a spine buster.
Okay.
To me, I love Arn Anderson. This the interference. I understand. People are going to say, "Dude, it's story building." Okay, I get it. Story. Well, I'm an indie mark. Okay, I want 6 minutes of just arm drags and submissions and chops and moonsaults. I said it. You can get that from these two. Fair
enough. So, but Cody did go over with the win on that one. In the semi-main event, in the Escalada de la Muerta, for the AAA World Tag Team titles, that's a ladder match, folks. It was the Lucha Brothers defending against the Young Bucks. The Canadian Destroyer that I saw off the ladder through the table. The Bucks are nuts. Bottom line. They're crazy.
Aside from lagging, my house phone's ringing when that happens to internet. So.
I figured that was you're good so far. We didn't lose you too much. Yeah. But I remember that happened last time. So now I know when you when you stop moving and stop talking, you're getting a phone call.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I have a house phone still, and this guy's nothing.
But you're good now. You're good now.
Yeah. But yeah, that match was really, really good. I expected it to be the match tonight, which it was. That spot you mentioned with the Canadian Destroyer was freaking just bananas. I mean, a lot of spots. I mean, Nick Jackson died for our sins in that match.
Oh, I saw that, right? When we got knocked off the top of the ladder. Yeah. And I feel like he did that in Ring of Honor, too. He just doesn't know how to fall off a ladder.
Well, he does and he doesn't.
But it was nice to see the Bucks actually lose. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just nice to see them, job to the Lucha Brothers, still AAA Tag Champions. So that's pretty sweet. Before we get to the main event, I want to go back real quick to the buy-in and the Women's Battle Royal. There was some names in there I was shocked to see in the Battle Royal. I was wondering your thoughts. Like, first of all, Priscilla Kelly. I thought that was pretty shocking to see her in the Battle Royal.
That was awesome. I mean, I've known her for a while. Have been like in the locker room with her before. Like it's just crazy. See her on there. It was really cool.
Eva Lise, we knew was going to be in there, which is great to see her on a major show like that. Tennille Dashwood is all in, which is funny because she just debuted on Impact.
Yeah, which I just discovered. I have the Pursuit channel. I can start watching Impact.
There you go. They're also on Twitch.
Yeah, but
I hear you.
I like the feel of the TV.
I gotcha. No, I know exactly what Teal Piper, the daughter of Roddy Piper, who I got to admit, really, I thought they were going to kind of use her a little bit more, but not so much.
Well, I was going to say, good job with Piper. That is a beautiful woman.
She was very attractive, yes.
That's it.
In a way, I think, unfortunately for Teal, with Ronda Rousey, with kind of the homage to Piper with her gimmick, may actually have taken away from Teal. Even though it's good for Teal to go off on her own, she still was rocking some plaid, in honor of her father. But I think if Ronda didn't have the run that she had, maybe Teal could have been more like, rowdy Teal Piper or something like that. But I've never really seen her wrestle, so I think, as far as I know, she's really new, right, to the sport.
Yeah,
so.
I think that was her first. That was her first time.
Fair enough. ODB. I remember. Hold on. Here's the problem with AEW. Whoever's directing the AEW shows does a bad job at times cutting to something or staying on something. There's always something you're missing on an AEW show. I always find that. It's weird. But when I heard Justin Roberts call ODB, I'm like, I didn't hear it at first. And then I go at the bar, I'm like, did I just hear ODB? And then you hear the bar go, ODB. Wait, is ODB there? Like, all of a sudden, everyone was waiting for ODB, and there she is, who I haven't seen in a ring in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long... That's what I've seen her for the Briscoes and Ring of Honor show.
That's true. Well, yeah, that was back when, Maria was still there.
Yeah, was it that long ago?
Probably a couple years now. Yeah.
Man.
Dang,
yeah.
And then Jazz got a huge ovation, as she should.
Mercedes Martinez.
The Joker card, I was going to say, that was a shock. I thought she was with NXT for a while longer, but nope. Mercedes Martinez. I was shocked Brandy got eliminated as early as she did.
I'm glad she did.
You not a Brandy Rhodes fan?
She's a horrible wrestler. Get out of there.
Well, with that being said, folks, let's talk about the main event of AEW for the inaugural AEW World Championship, which we're also going to have something to talk about in a moment. It was Hangman Adam Page taking on Chris Jericho. Jericho's still waiting for his thank yous, but he doesn't have to wait any longer as Chris Jericho became the new AEW World Champion for about 24 hours. Let's talk about the match first.
The match itself was better than what I thought. Jericho and Hangman had pretty good chemistry. Jericho's run since leading the WWE has been hit or miss for me. I will be the first to say I'm not a huge fan of his matches with Kenny Omega.
Okay.
I don't know why. They didn't click with me. His stuff with Naito, to me, Naito's been his best opponent.
I can see that. I mean, I enjoyed watching him take on Kenny the first time at the Tokyo Dome because it was different for Jericho. Like, it wasn't WWE. Yes, his two matches? Yeah. His two matches with Naito, fantastic. I was shocked still that they gave him the Intercontinental title. I was not crazy about Jericho and Okada. But I liked Kenny, Omega, and Jericho at Double or Nothing. I didn't mind it. Now, granted, I mean, Jericho is like Hulk Hogan's my number one. Jericho is my number 1A. So, I said on the Monty and the Pharaoh show that I thought Adam Page was going to win the title and they were going to go into TNT with Adam Page as champion. I am very happy to say that I stand corrected.
Well, that was a good call because if you want to really sell your product to new people too, they're going the casual WWE fans know Chris Jericho. Like I say, like the mom and pop wrestling fans that only watch wrestling when it's on and go to the mom and pop crappy shows. They know Jericho. They're like, oh, Jericho's on here. I'm gonna watch that.
I get it. I do get that. I just thought maybe they'd want to bring like someone like Hangman, where like Jericho. I thought you'd have commitments with Fozzy. I thought you'd have a couple more commitments with New Japan, and I thought it would be more fun to see like a whining Chris Jericho that he didn't win the title. But again, I stand corrected. Very happy that Jericho, on paper, is world champion. But let's talk about what happened the day after All Out in, I think it was Tennessee, I believe it was, when Jericho, of all places, went to a Texas Longhorns to have himself a nice meal, and someone stole the AEW championship. I'm talking legitimately stole the title.
And why he was eating Longhorn?
That's my first question. Could have easily gone to an Outback Steakhouse.
Longhorn's better.
I don't think I've ever had Longhorns. Listen, when you have Peter Luger's that's out here in New York, there is no other steakhouse. I'll tell you that much.
It's hard to find a steakhouse. Well, I read that like it had to do with like something at the airport. I don't really know, but the fact this happened to Jericho couldn't happen to a better person.
First of all, Jericho's running with it. I mean, let's.
Yeah. Oh, he is.
This is a legitimate shoot. He called the cops. The cops are investigating. Because I think what happened was something happened where they grabbed the wrong bag, so the limo went back to the airport, I believe. And I guess at some point in between there is when someone took the title. And, the police, are investigating. If this is a work, this is the greatest damn thing that I've ever seen in wrestling since Buff Bagwell faked breaking his neck again in WCW. Because I was hook, line, and sinkered into that one. But this is the shoot that it looks like it is, where the cops are involved. Otherwise this is a very 80s gimmick to do. Jericho has no alternative, but he cuts a promo on Instagram talking about it. Which I love, because what are you going to do? It happened. It sucks. What else is Jericho going to do but go on and cut a promo in his hot tub with his new catchphrase, a little bit of the bubbly, which is taking the internet by storm. It's almost as good as you stupid idiot and you just made the list. Jericho's great with one-liners. This is why I love Chris Jericho. And he was a jerk to me at an autograph signing, and I have no problem with that. But, what are your thoughts on this whole stealing the belt thing? You think they'll just make up a new one? I mean, that looked like an expensive title.
Well, the idea of him being drunk as heck at a Longhorn Steakhouse while his dog gets stolen, the perfect Jericho story. That's the Jericho story. Now, John Pollock of Post Wrestling posted there was after a report the title belt did turn up in Tallahassee, in the police department in Tallahassee.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Florida. Yeah. They posted a picture of it. Then it got taken down, so I'm not sure, but Pollock was able to save everything and post it. So the title has been found. I just don't know when AEW get it back in your hands or what they're going to do with that. But my thing is, yes, this is definitely a shoot, but they need to let this introduce someone new. Marty Scurll's contract's up in November in Ring of Honor.
Oh, really? That's true.
He is the villain.
That'd be cool. If he's the one that,
really
they just, let's just run with this. Let's say okay.
If not him.
What?
Hear me out. If not him, Nick Gage. Do you imagine?
Oh, God.
TV
No.
taping. Jericho's like, who did it? Who took it? And you hear from whom the bell tolls. Here comes Nick Gage with his belt, with his GCW belt. This client body mother effort is like, with the belt, come get it. Can you imagine that?
I mean, I never thought I'd see Ric Flair covered in thumbtacks, so I've seen stranger things happen. Oh, my God. Well, we're going to see what happens come October 2nd. So your overall thoughts on All Out?
it was a good show. I think it was a great show. To me, like I said earlier, TakeOver was a hard weekend and outshined it. All Out, I don't know, man. It was a good show. It just didn't have the expectations that I thought it would.
Okay.
Following Double or Nothing and All In. But, I mean,
fair enough.
The main event, I mean, Hangman is definitely a great worker, but I just don't think Hangman's ready for that main event spot to me.
All right.
I do love him, but I don't know. But it was a good show. What are your thoughts?
Well, again, I only saw half of it, but the half I saw was fun. But you're right, it was fun, but not like it wouldn't like drag me where I'd be watching it on repeat. That I'm going to do with TakeOver Cardiff, or even that I do with Double or Nothing. Like I'll go back and rewatch some matches from Double or Nothing. Look, not every show can be a home run. Don't get me wrong. Like unfortunately, I'm waiting for that one TakeOver to show up and just stink the bed, because in my opinion, they've all been amazing, but it's going to happen. Nothing's 100%. So as much as All Out may not have lived up to the hype, I'm going to give it time. Let me see how they do on TV. Let's see how their next pay-per-views do. Hopefully this is not a sign of things to come. This, one-off happens, it happens. But you're right. TakeOver Cardiff, card of the weekend, card of the month.
Yeah. Clash of Champions, good luck.
Well, that's always a whole... Oh, I don't know. Heel Sasha and possible heel Bailey? We'll see.
Yeah.
How dare you, sir? That's going to be my future employer, I should say, with the WWE Podcasting Network.
It's true, but hey, let's save this for next week, because we got a lot to cover next weekend.
Yes, that is true. Brandon's going to be back next weekend to talk about upcoming shows coming up on, what is that, the 14th, I think?
Yeah, Bloodsport.
What else we got?
What else? Clash of Champions. I have a list, actually.
All right.
And then Impact's got Victory Road. I'm actually intrigued.
It's only $10 on Fight TV. I may get that. Yeah.
Why not?
Honestly.
Yeah.
I like how Fight TV does the whole thing where, like, if you're a member of Impact Plus, you can watch the shows on Fight. Same if you're a member of Honor Club, you can watch the shows on Fight. Because it's just a better platform, Fight, to be honest, Fight TV.
No, I agree. Fight's awesome.
But yeah, I think for $10, I'll definitely catch, if I'm home, which I should be, catch Impact. And so we're going to talk more next week. Brandon, thank you very much for being on this show. I like to have, when I have guests on, I throw kayfabe right out the door. So let us know where we can find you on social media.
Instagram at The Changing of Times, Twitter at Brandon W. Miller, and then also Victims and Villains. I'm back doing podcasts every couple of months and do written reviews. We just posted some reviews of some movies from a film festival they covered this weekend, so I have 2 reviews from that up as well that we just put up. So you can find my stuff there as well. And so yeah, that's it.
Awesome. And what's up, real quick, what's up with this promotion thing that you're doing?
So I used to be in a hardcore band, and I used to book hardcore shows and like punk shows and stuff back a few years ago. I quit my band back in 2013, so it's been about 6 years since I booked a punk or hardcore show. And my buddy booked some shows a couple months ago and needed some help running them, so I helped him. That gave me that itch. So I was like, do I want to get back into it? Do I not? My friend, Zach, runs a venue at his house. He comes with Bowen Farms. It's in his garage. He says bands come and play. So he told me, like, hey, dude, if you want to get back into it, you can book any show here anytime. So I was like, okay. So my buddy Josh Allen of Make My Hill Tour, and he got asked to book this show from his Make a Honeymoon, and he couldn't do the show, so he got the guy to message me. And I was like, all right, sounds good to me. So I got the show together, put some locals on it, and I announced it today. So
awesome.
So it's my first time booking a show in 6 years, and I'm pretty stoked about it. So I hope it goes really well. All
right, cool. And where, you want to kind of plug it real quick?
Yeah, so the touring band is called Honeymoon. They're from Ohio, like a space rock, post-hardcore if you like the band Home or like Thrice or like them, local band Headwires, heavier rock and roll. If you like Here's the Salt and Street Fighter, check them out. And then they got Penny Circus. Here's the indie band. If you like Brand New, the Fall Out Boys, stuff like that, you would love them. And then the opening act is called the Golden Flakes. They're a newer experimental rock band. If you like this weird psychedelic rock, check this guys out. October 17th, $7. I know people listen probably ain't from Alabama, but if you're in the area,
yeah, why not?
Some cheap fun, $7. I mean, 4 bands, $7. It'll be Halloween candy.
There you go. October 17th, right? You said?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, listen, you never know where people are listening, so if you're in the area, I'm going to put a link up. Check it out. And, again, Brandon, thank you very much. My independent extraordinaire, my independent analyst. And we will be back next week. So, Brandon, you have a good week. I will catch you next time when we continue talking more wrestling.